The meaning of a phrasal verb is often very different from the meanings of the two parts taken separately. We put off the meeting to Tuesday. So the author is saying put and off are different and have nothing to do with the meaning of put off. But wait a minute. Put on. Okay, this is on. This is off. We're not having the meeting, right? We put off the meeting to Tuesday. So put off, on, off. Okay, here's another book. Let's see what it says. The meaning of a multi-word verb is not the same as the independent meaning of the verb and the particles. For example, come to, regain consciousness is not about coming, movement, or to, direction. So you're unconscious. You come to, but this is a direction, right? Come to, you regain your consciousness. At the other end of the spectrum are multi-word verbs whose meaning is apparently completely opaque. The plane took off. Wait a minute, so this is the plane. The plane took off. It was on the runway, now it's off the runway. It took off. What in the world? This is clear. She gave up smoking. I don't want to smoke anymore, so she gave up. She doesn't want it anymore. She gave up. You've just witnessed the inner voices in my head when I began my quest to understanding phrasal verbs. For some reason, I couldn't just agree with these authors as much as I love their books. I love their works. I'm grateful for everything they've ever written. But I don't know, I just could not feel satisfied with the fact that the particle has nothing to do with the overall meaning of the phrasal verb. And this is what today's class is all about. We're going to understand phrasal verbs through a different lens. I'm blind now. And of course, we're going to talk about the key to understanding phrasal verbs. Buckle up, because what you're about to learn is going to change the way you see phrasal verbs forever. You probably know English is not my first language, and I didn't grow up speaking English. So you might be wondering, Teacher Natalie, how do you make sense of phrasal verbs? Because if you grew up speaking English, for the most part, you don't really have to think about phrasal verbs. You just use them, you just take them for granted, right? So first off, what's a phrasal verb? Dictionaries will tell you that a phrasal verb is a phrase that consists of a verb with a preposition or adverb or both, the meaning of which is different from the meaning of its separate parts. Got it? Neither did I. Okay. What's a phrasal verb? Let's make this simple. A phrasal verb is like a sandwich. You've got your bread. Can I draw a sandwich? I'm going to try. This looks like a burger. Is a burger a sandwich? I guess it could, right? I mean, gosh, this is not very good, but this is a sandwich, okay? So you've got your bread right here, right? Your bread. If it's a burger, I guess we would call it a bun. All right. And then you add ingredients. You have cheese, mayonnaise, lettuce, all these different ingredients, right? But when you combine these together, we have something entirely different, entirely new, a sandwich. I don't think you say, oh, I'll have a couple pieces of bread with cheese, turkey, some mayonnaise, pickles maybe, and tomatoes. No, right? You say that you have a sandwich. Because when we combine these things together, we have something completely new. All right, let me give you a practical example. This is a piece of paper, right? What verb comes to mind when I do this? Tear, right? To tear. Let me write this down. to tear. Same spelling as tear. Tear, here when you're crying, tear, to tear. Now, when I add this particle here, up, we have a phrasal verb, to tear up. To tear up. I'm tearing this up, you see? To tear the piece of paper into smaller pieces. You see, when I combine tear and up, we have a new unit of meaning. To tear and tear up don't necessarily mean the same thing. To tear, it's just more general. To tear up is this idea of tearing something into many pieces. I'm tearing everything, the whole paper, right? Here's another example. Since we're talking about sandwiches, take a look at the verb to eat. I'm gonna write this over here. Eat, right? Hope you're not hungry. What happens when I combine the word eat and up? Have this particle here, up. Eat up. We have a phrasal verb. And what does eat up mean? If I say to my son, I have a 2-year-old, eat up your vegetables, eat up your broccoli. What am I saying? Is it different from eat your broccoli? There is a difference. When I say eat your vegetables, I'm telling him to simply eat. I'm not saying how much he should eat. I just want him to eat. But if I say eat up your vegetables, I want him to eat all of it. I want him to eat everything. Eat the whole thing. You see? Tear up, eat up. We have a total new unit of meaning here. To eat up means to eat all of something. So it's not the same as eat. Things get a little more complicated with phrasal verbs because they usually have more than one meaning. So let's talk about eat up, right? To eat up means to eat all of something, but it can mean something else too. And we call this polysemy. Ooh, professor mode here. Polysemy. Polysemy. Poly means many. Semi means signs or meanings. So eat up can also mean something else. If I say, I have a truck. I don't have a truck, just an example. That old truck eats up gas like crazy. Like that old truck eats up grass. Grass? Gas, not grass, okay? Gas. And gas is short for gasoline. So that old truck eats up gas like crazy. I'm saying that this truck uses a lot of gas. Of course, trucks don't literally eat, but I'm using this verb here, eat up, in a more figurative way. So if I say, oh, this car eats up a lot of gas, I'm not saying that it drinks all the gasoline. I'm just saying that it uses a lot of it to the point that it ends because, it's a lot of it. So can you see that eat up can have a more literal meaning, like eat up your vegetables, but then this meaning can be extended and used in more figurative ways. This is a light bulb. You can use your imagination if it looks a little crazy here, if you can't really see this as a light bulb. I'm not the best at drawing, but you got the idea. This light bulb here eats up electricity because it's not energy efficient. You see, it uses a lot of energy. So eat up here is not referring to eating like the light bulb doesn't eat, but in a more figurative way, I'm saying that the light bulb uses a lot of electricity. So the title of this video is The Key to Understanding Phrasal Verbs. And I'm pretty sure when you decided to click on it, you did not think I was going to give you a literal key, right? Like, here's a key. I wish. You know, by key, I'm referring to a solution, an answer to something that is complicated, like phrasal verbs, right? So the key to understanding phrasal verbs, I'm not giving you a literal key. We call this metaphor, right? From Greek, metaphora. I don't speak Greek, by the way. I looked up the pronunciation of metaphor in Greek just because I thought it would look cool. Anyways, so a metaphor means, this word means to carry over or transfer. So when we use a metaphor, we compare things. We say one thing is another. We transfer the characteristics of something to another. So I said the key to understanding phrasal verbs. Here I'm comparing a solution to a key because a solution opens our understanding of things, right? So the key to understanding phrasal verbs. So why am I talking about metaphors? Isn't metaphor supposed to be something we learn in literature classes? Not necessarily, because metaphors are everywhere. Just like phrasal verbs, they're everywhere. And what if I told you that phrasal verbs are a lot like metaphors? Maybe metaphors are actually the key to understanding phrasal verbs. What do you think? All right, a little bit of history. Back in the 1980s, when my parents were teenagers, some researchers came up with the conceptual metaphor theory. Conceptual metaphor theory. Which simply shows that metaphors are present in our lives, not only in language, but in our thoughts and our actions. So they are intrinsically related to our human experience. So this is why I tell my son, you are my sunshine. You are my sunshine. You see, sunshine brings warmth and a feeling of good, especially if you live here in Wisconsin. This is also why when we are feeling sad, we say that we are feeling down. We're not totally like down like this sometimes, right? But you see, I lower my head, I'm feeling down. See, conceptual metaphor everywhere. So the preposition down indicates movement from top to bottom, like this, right? Down. This is what we call the core or main or essential meaning of this preposition. Down, from top to bottom. This core meaning, why am I holding this? This core meaning can be extended and used in a more figurative way. When we're feeling down, we're not saying that we're going to go downwards like this or we are feeling like doing this. But we are figuratively saying that our emotions are not good. And down indicates less joy, less energy. Now, imagine that you came down with a cold. So the base form is come. Let me try this. Come down with. I came down with a cold. You see, I'm not talking about literally coming down like this, but I have a cold now. I came down with a cold, you know, I'm not feeling so good. But then I have an idea. Oh, up, right? So let me erase this part, this timeline. Up. What's the core meaning of up? This motion from bottom to top, upward. I came up with an idea. So the base form, come up with, right? I came up with an idea. You see? Oh, my body came up like that. So my idea is that I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to try my best to be healthy so I don't get sick as much. And then for you to be healthy, you have to cut down on the amount of sugar you eat. Cut down, again, this idea of less, reducing the amount of sugar you eat. You have to use more fresh veggies and fruits and try to be healthier to build up your immune system. To build up your immune system, you see? You might be thinking, okay, this makes sense. I mean, you chose pretty easy phrasal verbs. But how about give up? How is up related to the fact that you abandon something, you stop doing something? Remember, up here is not used in a literal way. It's like a metaphor. Up indicates movement from bottom to top. So in a more figurative way, it indicates completion or reaching the end of something. Remember when we talked about eat up? Eating all of something? You complete that, right? You eat everything. So when we give up, we stop what we're doing. We didn't complete the action, but we stop it. You could also think of yourself holding this balloon and then you stop holding it. You're like, whatever. You give up. Up. You see? Of course, it's not always easy to clearly see this relationship between the core meaning of particles and the meaning of phrasal verbs. It's not always that easy. But when we see this relationship, it's just really helpful because it helps you remember the particles better. And I can say that, speaking from my own experience, I used to confuse particles a lot. And now that I think about the meaning of these particles, eat up, eat all of something. So then if somebody says, I need to clean up today, like this bedroom is a mess, I need to clean up. They're saying they're going to clean their whole bedroom. They're going to make sure they clean things well, you see. I can transfer this knowledge and use it to deduce the meaning of other phrasal verbs. So most phrasal verb books that I've read, that I have, they suggest that there is no relationship between the word up and the meaning of the phrasal verb give up. They say, just learn the whole thing. Like, don't worry about the particle, okay? It's going to throw you off. It's going to confuse you if you think of the particle. They simply say you should memorize phrasal verbs as if they're a completely new word. This is the advice that I followed for many years. And though it helped me memorize the most common phrasal verbs, it didn't help me understand and use phrasal verbs confidently because I was always confused because I was always memorizing the whole thing, but I would get confused because there's so many phrasal verbs, right? Whenever I had to end a phone call, do I hang off the phone call? No, hang up. Hang up. Think about the past, right? People used telephones. They had to attach the handset. They had to hang it up, right? So hang up. Okay, I have to hang up. I have to end the phone call. Not hang off, okay? No. You see, there are so many phrasal verbs. How about clothes, right? I'm going to take out my shoes. No, take off my shoes. Take off my clothes. Take off my earrings. Take off my makeup. I used to always be confused. Take out? No, it's take off. Because I understand the meaning of off. The core meaning of off. Yeah. So is this advice to simply memorize phrasal verbs really the best? It depends. For some more advanced learners, it may not be enough. I think when you're a beginner, it is helpful because it makes you think less, right? As you become more advanced in your English learning journey, it can be very confusing if you simply memorize the phrasal verbs. I wanted to share a few insights from cognitive linguistics as well. I'm not going to be very academic, but cognitive linguistics is this field that combines different disciplines like philosophy and psychology. It's very interdisciplinary, and it sees linguistics from a very holistic perspective, not simply the sentence level or words that combine with other words. It sees the human experience as something that shapes language. And so, cognitive linguistics studies that I've read have shown, that it's not like a lot. I don't think there are a lot of studies out there. At least so far, I haven't seen that many. But the ones that I've read show that learning phrasal verbs through the particles, the core meaning of particles, it can be very helpful. Their visual representations might be one of the most effective ways to learn phrasal verbs. What do I mean by this? There's a study that was conducted with first year English learners, and this study demonstrated that when students were taught phrasal verbs using cognitive linguistic techniques, such as visual aids, role playing, metaphorical extensions, these students showed improved retention and understanding of the verbs. That's the key here. Improved retention and understanding of the verbs compared to more traditional memorization techniques. So these students responded positively to this approach, indicating that learning through understanding the meaning of particles, it made their learning more meaningful, more engaging. Okay, and I'm just sharing with you these studies because I like to investigate things. I don't just teach out of what I think is best. Of course, I use my intuition, but I like to read studies. There might be studies that show the opposite too, but so far I've been seeing a very positive response from researchers and people who study phrasal verbs, the teaching of phrasal verbs. And that's really the key to learning vocabulary is to make learning meaningful and engaging. So this approach has helped me make my own learning journey meaningful. So to answer the title of this video, metaphors are the key to understanding phrasal verbs, but not only that, understanding the core meaning of particles can really help you understand phrasal verbs. And not only understand them, but remember them better in your next English conversation. Of course, this approach can be confusing sometimes. It's not an easy approach. Nothing is easy when it comes to learning a language. So that's why I'm here to guide you through this journey. I want to show you all that I've learned throughout this messy journey of trying to understand the core meaning of phrasal verbs. So now you already know the core meaning of down and up. What do you think the core meaning of on and off is? How about over? That's a good one. Over. What is it? Okay. If you're very skeptical, like me sometimes, you might still be unsure. What about show up? When I say, I didn't show up to class today, how is up related to its core meaning? I don't see any connection. Well, let's revisit the core meaning of up. This upward motion can also represent a location, right? Something that's up. Like I put this marker up here. It's up there, right? Up. So when you show up, the idea is that you're now present and you can be seen. You can be seen. You see, something is brought up to the surface. So I see you because you showed up. You are here right now. Of course, deducing the meaning of every phrasal verb from its parts isn't straightforward. No, that's not the goal here. The goal is to understand the core meaning of prepositions and adverbs, particles, to better grasp and remember phrasal verbs. And remember, phrasal verbs, these verbs matter too. It's not just about the particle, but we're going to be starting from the particle. And the better you understand a word, the better you remember it. And this is why I think understanding phrasal verbs will help you remember them and feel more confident in using them. And that's the main idea behind demystifying phrasal verbs, to debunk the myth that phrasal verbs make no sense and must be memorized, especially in isolation. Don't recommend that. And I want to show you that you can understand phrasal verbs. And once you do, you'll stop fearing them. You'll feel more confident using them in conversations. Even when you're unsure about a phrasal verb.
Before we finish, I have one more thing to say. Do you remember in video one when I shared my story of how I used burn down in a way that was not quite right? So, how can I explain burn down? Why can I say burn down a house, but then I cannot say burn down papers or pieces of paper? How can I explain the fact that I can say burn down a building? Well, you have to come back to the next video where I'll be answering lots of questions. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you won't miss any of the videos of our Demystifying Phrasal Verbs week.
If this lesson struck a chord with you, right? No pun intended. Why don't you join Light Up Phrasal Verbs Demystified? That's my phrasal verbs course with over 25 pre-recorded lessons that go over the different meanings of the particles, the mini extensions, to better help you understand and use phrasal verbs in your everyday interactions. Also, this time we're offering a teacher's edition of the course. It's Light Up for Teachers. And in this edition, our live sessions are going to be tailored towards helping you, teacher, develop expertise in teaching phrasal verbs. Of course, this will help you better understand phrasal verbs too, but the Light Up for Teachers edition, the live sessions will focus on helping you develop tools to help your students understand and master phrasal verbs too. You can head over to my website or simply click the link in the description below so you can join Light Up and take advantage of all the materials we offer. I am so excited to support you in your journey towards mastering phrasal verbs, towards understanding these verbs that shouldn't give you a headache. That's why I'm here. This week, I want to invite you to be an active participant. Really take advantage of this material. Send comments, questions. I'd love to answer any questions you may have. And I'll see you in the next video, in which we'll talk a little bit more about what phrasal verbs are and the key to understanding them and feeling more confident about using them. So, see you later.